channel. So this video is going to be another DNA results testing. This is still ancestrydna.com. As you guys know, my boyfriend and I did our DNA samples I think last year, and we found some interesting results. And if you want to check that video out, make sure to check in the description box and check that video out first to see what my results were, and come back here and check out these results. These results are basically a comparison of me and my mom. My mom also took the test as well, I think a couple months ago, and I was really shocked at her results because all the things that I thought I got from her, I didn't. And all the things that I got from my dad, well, I don't know, because my dad hasn't taken it. So let's just start. I'm not gonna go into crazy depth about all the visuals and things like that, because I have all that in my last video, but I just, guys, will tell you each thing and compare and tell you what I think about those things. Okay, so Nigeria, that's like the biggest one. I got 34% Nigerian, so I'm like 3/4, I'm 1/3 Nigerian. Yeah, I'm the 1/3 Nigerian, and my mom is 22%, which tells me that my dad must be more than 34% Nigerian for me to get 34 Nigerian. Either that or he has to be 34 Nigerian or more in order for me to have that much Nigerian. By the way, guys, of course, disclaimer, these tests are man-made. They're not 100%. I wouldn't say that they're 100% correct. They're just a general gist of our DNA, and based off the results I got, I feel like they're pretty much right. My mom's were a surprise to me, but then again, I don't know, like whatever. It's hard to tell when you're African American because we don't know a whole lot of our history. We only know like the last 100 years of that, so it's kind of hard to tell. I have 13% Ivory Coast and Ghana. She has 3% Ivory Coast and Ghana. It means I got that mostly from my father's side. By the way, guys, just a disclaimer, my dad is Black and Portuguese. He's of Cape Verdean descent as well as Portuguese descent and African American descent. So yeah, take that into account when you think about this. Also, my mom is Black, she's African American. I got 7% Senegal, and my mom got 0% Senegal. Keep in mind, Cape Verde is an island off the coast of Africa. It is occupied by the Portuguese, and it's kind of like, if you don't know what Cape Verde is, okay, let's make it easy. Spain, you know, Spain is like the motherland of the Spanish. Okay, and then there's the Puerto Ricans, which is like a territory of Spain, and they speak Spanish, but they have a whole different culture. That's kind of how Cape Verde is to Portugal. So Portugal is like the motherland of Portuguese, and then Cape Verde is a territory with African influences as well as Portuguese influences, just so you guys know. Anyway, so Senegal is like on the coast, like the mainland off the coast of Cape Verde, so it makes sense that I would probably, my mom, I guess, would have 0% and I would have 7 because I probably got that from my father's side. And then there's Benin, and Togo. I got 6% and my mom got 30%. Now, this is funny. My mom wasn't surprised that she got 30% Benin Togo because, first of all, my mom's a sculptor. She's a really good sculptor. Make sure to check her out, www.bennybagwell.com. She's amazing. She's an African American Black sculptor, meaning she only makes Black art or Black sculptors, and she's a finalist for Marvin Gaye in the DC area, and yeah, I can go on about her, but whatever. She's, just look her up, Benny Bagwell. Anyway, so she told me that when she was in the 80s, an African man told her that she was Benin, and she was like, how did you know? He's like, because you come from a line of magnificent sculptors. Benin people are known for their sculpting skills, and you have the gene. And she was like, oh, okay. So for her to have 30% Benin and then her to be such an amazing sculptor, kind of cool, right? So yeah, and then the next one is African Southeastern Bantu. I got 5% of that. My mom got 0%. So it's interesting because my mom had more African than I do, but there was a lot of African that she didn't get. So anyway, I got 3% Cameroon and Congo. And hold on, let me make sure. My mom got 7% Cameroon and Congo. So she has more Cameroon than I do. And for African South Central hunter-gatherers, I got 2% for that. My mom got 7%. For Mali, I got 1%. My mom got 4%. This means that my father doesn't have any Mali My father probably doesn't have any African South Central hunter-gatherers. As for Cameroon, my father probably didn't have any of that as well, because my mom has 7%, I had 3. I'm assuming he either had a really low percent or none. And yeah, that's all it for African. If I were to tally this up, because Ancestry.com changed their thing. They used to tell you like an overall percent of each continent. They don't do that anymore, so you have to like tally up how much percentage you have for each continent, which is kind of annoying now. On here I have 70%, which is funny because before when I used to say the percentage, it told me I had 72%, but I just tallied this up and it says I have 70% African. So I don't know what that 72% was, because I'm looking at the whole thing. Yeah, I'm looking at the whole thing, and before it was 72. What am I missing? Yeah, okay, so I thought I had 72%, but I have 70% African in me. My mom has 73, so my mom has a little bit more than I do. Hers tallied up to 73% African, and I have 70% African. Okay, this is a surprise to me. I got, oh, by the way, I forgot to add, I think I said already that I got 1% Mali and my mom got 4% Mali. So she has more Mali than I do. And then I have 1% Africa North and my mom has 0% Africa North. Now the Africa North is probably due to the Moors that occupied Lower Europe back in the early hundreds. Sorry, back in the 1400s or 1300s or early thousands AD. The Moors, aka Africans, or Arabs, Muslims, whatever you want to call them, Berbers, pretty much the Moors occupied Spain, Italy, Portugal, well, technically Rome, I guess it would have been. So I was gonna say Greece, but technically it's Rome. I think France, I'm not sure if France is included in that, but whatever. The Moors occupied Lower Europe, and so a lot of Europeans, if you notice, in those areas, like in the Mediterranean areas, are brown skin, and sometimes as brown as me or even darker is because they got black in them. So yeah, so no matter what, like, yeah, if you're from those areas, you probably got black in you, just letting you know. But anyway, okay, the next thing I was really surprised about was I have 4% Native American, which is really high for an African American. And I, first of all my life, you know how the whole stories go with African Americans, how everybody like, I got Cherokee in me, I'm Native American, like whatever. First of all, I don't have Cherokee in me, but growing up, I was always told that my grandfather's side on my mom's side had a lot of Native American, as well as my grandmother on my mother's side. So on both sides, my grandmother, and my mom is into history, and she used to write books, and so she did extensive research and wrote a whole book on our family history. It was published, and she was able to track our ancestors and find the Native Americans on both sides of our family. So it's not like those people aren't there, but my mom has 2% Native American. How do I have 4% Native American and my mom has 2% Native American? That means my father must have 4% or more Native American than me, which is weird to me because I don't know, it's just weird. I never thought of him as being Native American. I remember my grandmother mentioning, my grandmother's on my father's side, mentioning as a kid like that we had Mohawk on our side, but I don't know how that would have been in our family, being that she's Portuguese and also there's Cape Verdean on my side, and so most of my family on my father's side isn't from, like, they're not from America. So it's just kind of weird that, like, I don't know, I just thought it was weird that my father's side had Native American. So I don't know much about that at all, but I know for sure that on my grandmother's side, my mother's side, her grandmother, I mean my great grandmother, is Blackfoot Native American. And on my grandfather's side, my mother's father's side, we have Powhatan Native American, aka Pocahontas is my cousin. So yeah, I don't understand. My father must have more Native American than I thought. Then again, I was gonna say, because Blake, my boyfriend, he always says that, you know, the Native American could have been because of the islands, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not like Caribbean, which is a part of the Americas. It's Cape Verde, which is technically African. Sometimes also too, I think sometimes DNA can skip or take what it wants. Not sure how that works. Don't want to get too much into it, but let's just say I was very surprised. I got 4% and my mom had 2. I thought my mom was gonna have like 6% Native American, or like, yeah, at least 6% Native American. But also a lot of people growing up always thought my mom was Native American because she has a Native American look. I don't know if you want to say, I hate putting people in categories like they have a look, but whatever. Growing up, people thought she was Native American, so whatever. I was surprised by that. So anyway, moving on. Now moving on into Europe. So I have 7% Iberian Peninsula, which is probably due to Portuguese, the fact that I'm part Portuguese, and that makes sense to me. And my mom has 5% Iberian Peninsula, which I was surprised about. Europe West, I got 6% Europe West. My mom got 4% Europe West, which I was surprised about. But if we're gonna talk about the Portuguese side of me, I know my my great grandfather, he was fresh off the boat Portuguese, he used to speak Italian. So I always thought that I had Italian in me because he spoke Italian, but I don't have any Italian in me at all. Based off these results, I don't know Italian in me. But I heard that Europe West is considered like French. I think Europe West is French, France. I'm not sure where else, but I know it's France. I don't know who's freaking, it's hard to tell who's who. But anyway, I'm 6% European West, my mom is 4%. And then Great Britain, which just I found very odd as well. I'm 4% Great Britain and my mom is less than 1%. How the heck? I'm sorry, that's crazy to me. All right, so let's talk about this a bit. My mother's last name is Bagwell, which is a English last name. So obviously it's a slave name, right? The Bagwells are from Britain, and there also can be Irish. So recently my grandfather told me that it's the Irish aspect, that's what we got our last name from, not the English aspect. But I was still confused, like, wouldn't my mom have more British than I do because she's the Bagwell? I don't know. My father is not a Bagwell, he's not English. I don't know. I thought that was weird. You never know how things mix up. It's just crazy. And then Scandinavia, I got 3%, my mom got 2%. Okay, I got 1% Irish and Scottish, and my mom got 7%. So that makes sense as to, like, I got 1%, meaning my dad has none, which is weird because his last name is Green, and Green is a Scottish last name. Also, I want to make another disclaimer. My father passed away when I was 9, so there's a lot of information that I don't know based off of that. Sometimes I ask my brother or ask my sister and they tell me what they can. They're older than me. My brother's 13 years older than me. My sister is 26 years older than me. So when I ask them, they tell me what they can. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. So, or not saying that it's not accurate, but sometimes one will tell me one thing and another will tell me another. So sometimes I get my wires crossed because I don't have enough information about his side of the family, and there's not a lot of people that I know other than my grandmother who passed when I was 16. I used to ask her questions, and so a lot of my information is based off like immediate family, not like a bunch of people who've talked over the course of time. Which is versus my mother, which I have a humongous family on my mother's side who everyone says the same thing. So I don't know. But anyway, so the next one is Europe East, which I think is German. I have less than 1%, so I'm guessing that means my father had maybe 2% and my mom is 0%. Okay, then the next one's Finland, Northwest Russia. I have less than 1% of Finland and Northwest Russia. My mom has 0%. So whatever half percent, less than 1% I got is from my dad's side. Then South Asia, I got 1%. Okay, I got 1%. My mom got 0%. I was surprised by this as well because South Asia is similar to India, basically. Okay, oh my, I know a lot of history on my mom's side. I don't know a whole lot on my dad's side. I just know that he's black and Portuguese. That's pretty much all I know. My mom's side, I know a lot of information. So some of these were just confusing. Like South Asia South is, as I said, India. On my grandfather's side, on his mother's side, their last name is Nadab, and they're from Yugoslavia, but they were Arabs in Yugoslavia. So to me, I always thought, like, okay, when I first did my test, I was like, oh, okay, South Asia, South India, Arabs, Yugoslavia, Arabs, and then that's what I thought. But apparently it's not, because I got 1% and my mom got 0, and so I must have got that from my dad's side. Either that or my mom skipped that gene. And then the next one is Polynesia. I got 0%, my mom got 2%. which I thought was pretty cool because I'm like, Polynesia. If you can hear in the background, Moana's playing. Anyway, I was like, Polynesia, she got 2% Polynesian. Who's Polynesian? I don't know. And then Caucasus, I got 0%. My mom got less than 1%. And I got, okay, for Asia East, I got 0%. My mom got less than 1%. So my mom is like, she got several Asian percentages here. She's got like 3% Asian total. Like, I mean, it's not a lot, but it's more. I don't have that. I have 1%, and it's South Asian. That's India. Like, who's Asian? I'm like, what? Okay. Anyway, so then the next one is migrations. So, and all the migrations she got, I didn't get. Any migrations I got, she didn't get. Oh, by the way, the only migrations I got was from my dad's side. I didn't get any of my mom's migrations, and my mom got her migrations, I think, from both her parents. So my migrations are Portuguese Islanders, which is, of course, because, okay, so Ancestry DNA has upgraded their whole thing, so they give you a timeline of when those particular migrations happened, when they came into the United States or wherever you live, when they migrated to that particular region, and all. It gives you all this information, which is really cool. So Portuguese Islanders is one of mine. The Azores and the Madeira in the late 1400s settled. Okay, the Portuguese settled islands of Cape Verde, the Azores, and Madeira in the late 1400s. Blah blah blah, and they, yeah, basically mixed in with the natives there. And but the Portuguese Islanders of Cape Verde all migrated in the early 1900s or 1925, it says, which is funny because my grandparents were born in the early 1920s. So, oh, they added more to this. Yeah, my father's family is from like Providence, which is Rhode Island, which a lot of Cape Verdeans are from. So yeah, so basically I'm gonna just show you guys. It's showing, and you can see my ring light, but it's showing Rhode Island and like basically and like where they migrated to New York and all that stuff. And it's just like, how did you know that? How do you know that? I thought that was cool. And then the next one is South Carolina African Americans, which is on my dad's father's side, I believe. He had Cape Verdean African American, I believe. So that's the South Carolina aspect. So I got all my dad's stuff. I got all of that. I didn't get any of my mom's migrations. So my mom's migrations are the Mid-Atlantic states African Americans. Oh, it also tells you which of your regions go with what like percentages you got. That's new too. It says that my Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Senegal, Benin, and Togo, Cameroon, Congo, and Mali are all from basically my dad's side. It's funny because I was telling my boyfriend this and he was like, you probably got most of your genes from your dad's side. I don't know how true that is, but it's just crazy that none of my mom's genes are showing up. I mean, a lot of my mom's genes aren't showing up, which is weird because I look just like my mom. But okay, so anyway, so my mom's migrations are Mid-Atlantic states African Americans, and she got Virginia and Southern state African Americans. So let's talk about Virginia and Southern states. My grandfather, as I said, is from Virginia. He's from Accomack, Virginia. So my mom got that region, the Virginia and Southern states aspect or whatever. I mean, my grandparents on both sides, their family is from the South. So probably, obviously. My grandmother is from New York, and I think her mother's from New York. I think her mother might have been born in Virginia too, and then moved to New York. But pretty much everyone on my mom's side is from Virginia. That's pretty much the thing. See, I mean, that's pretty much it. I would have hoped that my mom and I had more in common, or had thought my mom and I had more in common, but I mean, we pretty much do. Okay, so I have 70% African, my mom has 73% African. I have 4% Native American, my mom has 2% Native American. I have 23% European, my mom has 19% European. I have 1% Asian, and my mom has 3% Asian. So yeah, that's the gist. I mean, it's not far. It's not like super far off or anything crazy, you know? But it's just the details that are different that I expected not to be so different. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. That is the Ancestry.com DNA results between my mother and I. And I'll see you guys in my next video.